Hello, everyone. Tom with Capo Fetish. Today, let's talk about some of our favorite opening tracks from 1967. I've chosen 12 here, and when I'm done, throw your favorites in the comment section. So I'm going to start off here with one of my absolute faves. One of my absolute, not only from 1967, but just any year in general. I'm talking about Alone Again Or by Love from the Forever Changes album. Love the vibe of this track. There's just something really magical about it. I love the way both Brian McLean and Arthur Lee are singing dual lead on this, and especially love the midsection with the mariachi thing going on. Love that. And there's just something kind of sad and kind of happy about this track at the same time, which I kind of dig. And not to mention just a perfect record as well. So Alone Again Or is a definite fave of mine for an opening track from 1967 from Forever Changes. Another one is The Ballad of Me and You and Pooh Neal from Jefferson Airplane from After Bathing at Baxter's. What a magical track that is. The way it comes in with that feedback from Yorma, and then it kind of starts galloping along, and then those crazy harmonies by Paul Kantner, Grace Slick, and Marty Balin. So cool. Such a great opening track to such an excellent psychedelic album. So The Ballad of You and Me and Pooh Neal, After Bathing at Baxter's from Jefferson Airplane. Another fave is Mr. Soul off Buffalo Springfield Again. Oh my God, this is one of my favorite tracks of all time. I saw Neil Young do his tour. What was that tour? Psychedelic Pill tour at the Hollywood Bowl a few years back, maybe about 10 years back at this point. And man, it was a long slog through a lot of that material off that album. But he saved the show for me by ending with a live version of Mr. Soul. So it was well worth the admission just to hear that ending the show. But an incredible track and one of my faves. Mr. Soul, Buffalo Springfield Again. Now, I got two albums that I love, two of the same albums in different versions that I love the track off of. I love Paper Sun off Traffic's Mr. Fantasy. And I also love the British version of Mr. Fantasy, how it starts with Heaven is in Your Mind. So I'm going to go with either or. I love them both the same. So the British version, Heaven is in Your Mind from Mr. Fantasy. And the US version starting off with Paper Sun. Good stuff. Another one is, I could have picked Break On Through, but I love Strange Days. I love every track on this album, and I love the way this album starts off with the title track, Strange Days, and that weird vocal effect on Jim Morrison's voice. The whole album sounds different just from this whole opening track. I think this is their best album, just for my personal liking. And from here on in, from that track onward, it's just an excellent psychedelic album. So I love Strange Days, another favorite. Another one is Live by the Merry-Go-Round, Emmett Rhodes Band, back in the late 60s. This is their first album. You're a Very Lovely Woman. The song Live is such a catchy little ditty. The Bangles would later cover it years later on their album All Over the Place from 1984. But yeah, just a fine album too. Time Will Show the Wiser is on here. Yeah, Time Will Show the Wiser, Had to Run Around, Gonna Fight the War, You're a Very Lovely Woman. This is a really excellent album. If you've never heard it, check it out. If you're a fan of Emmett Rhodes' solo albums, definitely check out his stuff with the Merry-Go-Round. And absolutely, off Something Else by the Kinks, David Watts, an absolute Kinks classic, starting off one of their first greatest albums. They wouldn't later play this till years later, like in the late 70s, early 80s. That's when the first time I ever heard them play a track or a track like David Watts or anything off this album, really. I never even heard them play Waterloo Sunset. But anyway, David Watts, fantastic opening track. If you want to hear a great live version, hear the one on One for the Road that ends the double live album from 1980. That's fantastic. Another one is, of course, Procol Harum, the U.S. version of A Whiter Shade of Pale, just titled Procol Harum, but that's the first track, and it's pretty hard to beat. But also, I love the British version, too, this pink cover, where they start with Conquistador, which later appeared on the Live with the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra from 1971. That live version, to me, is the definitive version, but I love the studio version. This kicks off the UK version of Procol Harum's debut. And I also love Whiter Shade of Pale off the U.S. version, starting off the first album from Procol. And then I also love the way Magical Mystery Tour starts out. The title track, such a great opening cut. I love the brass, such an unusual track, the way it ends, how it kind of descends and does that fade out, that really freaky fade out. Love the backup vocals, very magical, and I love Ringo's hard-hitting drums. I love that beat he's playing. It's very, very powerful sounding. Just a really great, like, under 3-minute pop ditty from a great album. Magical Mystery Tour, the title track, another favorite opener. Another one is Sunday Morning from the Velvet Underground and Nico. Absolutely love this beautiful track. It sounds like nothing else on the album. I think this was kind of put forth as the single on the album to get people to buy the album, but it sounds like nothing else with a really rare, sweet Lou Reed vocal. He sounds very, very young and very innocent on that particular track. I love the xylophone, the way it starts off, and the viola. Very, very magical, very, very beautiful. Sunday Morning from the Velvet Underground and Nico album. And last but not least, I think this is my 12th choice, is Armenia City in the Sky from the Who Sellout. Love this track. I think it was a co-write with Speedy Keen from Thunderclap Newman. That's what Pete Townshend produced later on with Something in the Air. But yeah, I think there's a co-write between Pete Townshend and Speedy Keen, and it's a fantastic opening and a rare kind of psychedelic track, like overtly psychedelic track from The Who. So great way to start off a perfect album from The Who Sellout, my favorite Who album, Armenia City in the Sky. So those are 12 of my faves. Opening tracks from 1967. Let me know what yours are in the comments section. There's a ton out there, I'm sure. And you take care. It's been a strange week out here in SoCal with the fires. We're just trying to stay sane. And we'll see you soon. Bye.